Hello everybody, it's Nick here with Nick Tolman Music, and today we're going to continue our beginner guitar lesson series using Mel Bay's Modern Guitar Method, Grade 1. Today we're going to be looking at page 32. And page 32 is really just recapping a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about recently. It's going to be including minor keys, which is new, so this gives us an exercise to help us practice those minor chords that we've been learning and kind of focusing in the key of A minor. It talks a little bit about orchestration style. It calls it orchestration style. To me, that's a really confusing word for what it's actually talking about, but we'll talk about what it's doing. It gives an A minor scale exercise, which is great. And then it teaches us a new song, Wayfarin Stranger. And it also teaches us a new symbol, which is called a fermata. It calls it a hold sign. It's really called a fermata. We're going to talk about all these things today, so stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff in this lesson. Let's get started. So, accompaniment styles in A minor. We're not going to talk about this too much. We've been doing a lot of stuff like this. It's just now in the key of A minor. We're utilizing those three chords that we learned on the last lesson. So if you haven't really mastered those yet, being able to actually make the chords, make the shapes, this might be a little challenging for you. You might need to spend a little more time making sure that you have those chords under control before you hit this one. But here is accompaniment styles in A minor at 72 on the metronome. Now, one thing that is unique about this one that we haven't seen before is that it changes time signatures halfway through the song, right? So it starts out in common time, 4/4 time, up through the first line, but when we get to the second line, it changes to 3/4 time. That's okay. That can happen. It happens all the time in music. I wouldn't say it happens all the time in more popular styles of music, like in rock or country or things like that. But it does happen all the time in classical music, so it is a thing. Here we go. 72 on the metronome, accompaniment styles in A minor. Oh, 1, 2, ready and play. Rest. 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 Repeat. Alright, there it is. Let's try it at 120 on the metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... repeat. there we go. Alright, so nothing really crazy to look out for on that other than just getting used to these new chords, have some alternated bass notes and chords just like we've been doing a lot of. Alright, let's take a look at this next section. It says Orchestration Style. Okay, really what it is it's just talking about slash notation. I don't know why it decides to teach us this right now. We've seen it several times before in the book, but we've already talked about it. Slash notation. Whenever you see slashes in a measure, it just means that you are filling the time of that measure with whatever chord that it has outlined above. Alright? Now the thing about slash notation is it gives you flexibility because it's not necessarily outlining a specific rhythm for you to play. It's just saying that that time needs to be filled up with that chord. Now what you do rhythmically with that really is going to depend on what is happening in the music that you're playing, right? Starting out here on Orchestration Style, what I really like to do with my students is to take this exercise as an opportunity to really dive into some strumming patterns, right? An opportunity to practice playing your chords in different patterns than what you've done previously. So what I might do on this exercise is start out at 72 like normal, or wherever you need to start out, slower, faster, whatever, and start with just strumming quarter notes. So we're familiar with strumming quarter notes, but we're going to start there. So I might start this by strumming. Alright, so now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start playing with this a little bit. So now instead of just doing quarter, 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 I'm going to strum quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, right? I'm going to jump the metronome up to 100 here and try this pattern. Quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, boom, 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 down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, ready, and rest. Alright, so now maybe I go 8 8th quarter, 8 8th quarter, 8 8th quarter, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, down, up, down, down, up, down, right? It's going to definitely feel different, but let's try it. We'll go 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, different pattern. Maybe now I'm going to try to strum all 8th notes. So all 8th notes just straight across the board. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now what I'm going to try is I'm going to try playing this in all 8th notes, but I'm going to accent. So I'm going to place more emphasis on beats 2 and 4. Boom, boom, kaka, tuku, kaka, tuku, kaka, tuku, ka. Right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... I'm still just strumming 8th notes, but I'm creating some kind of rhythmic drive to it, right? So let's try that. 1 and 2 and ready and... right? You can start making these more and more complex, right? Put the eighth notes in different places, put the accents in different places, and before you know it, I mean, right? There's no limit to how creative you can get. I'm just filling the time with that chord, okay? That's the whole idea behind slash notation. So check this one out, practice with it. I have a great exercise on my website, nicktolmanmusic.com. I will put it in the description below. And this exercise is designed to take you from doing just quarter notes to doing more and more complex rhythmic strumming patterns, okay? So it gives you a whole series of strumming patterns that you might use that become more and more complex, and is a great one to apply to this. So please check it out. It's 99 cents on my website. Anyways, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So now we're looking at a daily scale study in A minor. And this is a really straightforward scale study, but a good one for us to look at. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. I'm going to start with my metronome at 72, and here's what it sounds like. For now, I'm doing all downstrokes. However, it does want you to practice doing it all downstrokes, but also down, up, down. 1 and 2, and ready and go. Alright, so that's great. For me, that last measure, to me, I know the book teaches A, that high A is kind of being in first position, but this is, again, really an example of where I would prefer to play that in second position. And I would probably shift to second position right after the F. So, and then I shift up and play G sharp with my third finger. So G sharp with my third finger on the 4th fret. Play around with that a little bit. Where you shift isn't necessarily super important as long as you can get the notes in. All right, let's hear this at 120. And I'm going to use down up picking. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and ready, go. There we go. Again, scale exercises are very much designed to do at really any tempo. So start slow, build your way up, spend as much time as you need on every tempo as you move your way up to make sure that you can play it nice and in time and smoothly. Alright, right under the A minor scale study, there is a quick note about what they call the hold sign. The symbol is actually called a fermata, F-E-R-M-A-T-A, fermata. And whenever you see this symbol over a note in music, it means that you can hold that note out for as long as you want. Now, if you're playing all by yourself, yes, as long as you want. But if you're playing with a band or any kind of ensemble, there's going to be somebody who's in charge of deciding how long that note will be held out. It's not like everybody in the band gets to hold it out for whatever amount of time they want. There's usually somebody who's in charge. In like an orchestra or like a concert band or something like that, there would be a conductor who is waving their arms, who decides, right? They hit the note, they say, hold the note, and then they cut it off and move on, and they're the ones who get to decide. Now in a band, like in a rock band or something, this could be a variety of people, right? It could be the lead singer who decides. They hit the note, and then the lead singer cues, and we all go. It could be the drummer who cues, right? We hold the note, and then the drummer, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, counts us back in, or just gives us a fill, and we're back in. It could be the guitar player. It really could be anybody. But when you're playing in an ensemble, there's going to be somebody who's designated to be in charge of deciding when that long note is done. Okay? For us, when we're practicing by ourselves, it's really up to us to just decide how long we want to hold it out. Alright, here we go. Here's Wayfarer and Stranger. We're going to start at 60 beats per minute on the metronome. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2. Fermata and off. Okay, so this one is not like an overly challenging one to play, really, but there is one thing about it that's kind of funny, and that is the D minor thing. So for all the A minors in this, you can really just use your standard A minor chord fingering. Like as soon as I just am holding that down, all the notes are there for you that you need for this. But for D minor, you need that middle range F, that F on the D string, 3rd fret on the D string. So I'm doing this kind of setup. So I'm putting my 3rd finger on F. So 3rd finger, 3rd fret of the 4th string. 2nd finger on A, 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And then 4th finger on D, 3rd fret of the 2nd string. That's my setup for all the D minor stuff in here, because you never end up playing that high F in this. So that's the fingering that I use for the D minor throughout this song. And really that's the trickiest thing there. This song doesn't need to go faster than 60. If you want to take it faster, you certainly can, but in general, if you ever heard Wayfarin and Stranger, it's generally a slower song. So that's where we're going to leave it at that today. This lesson has a lot of material, so make sure that you're understanding everything, and spend a lot of time on that second exercise here, and practice, becoming creative and trying some different strumming patterns. Again, I have a great exercise that you can download from nicktolmanmusic.com, and that'll give you a lot of different ideas that you can do. But another idea is just to listen to some of your favorite songs, listen to one of your favorite songs from the radio and listen to the rhythmic feel of that song and see if you could make that feel happen with this chord progression here. And you'll come up with all kinds of ideas. So, a lot of great stuff here. As always, please subscribe, and we will catch you next time.